Hey there, and welcome back to the Totally Fierce Crochet channel, and welcome back to this beyond beautiful crochet project, my Raffia tote bag, beach bag, market bag, boho bag, for whatever you want to use it. And of course, this was part of the Battle of the Stitches, and I created this bag mostly with the chosen stitch for the month of June, the double crunch stitch. I had the inspiration for this bag, of course, during my holidays, which also represents the two colors, the sandy bottom and the sea, because whenever I'm going to look at this bag, I will dream about the ocean and the sea. This is like just a lake, just in case you were wondering. So the yarn that I used for this bag is Raffia yarn. Maybe some of you have already heard about this. It's basically paper. That's correct. You can even hand wash it, but honestly, I wouldn't try it. And I had a lot of doubts whether this would work and whether this would hurt my arms and my fingers. But interestingly, it was quite fun and it works beautifully. You get like such a beautiful texture and you can shape things perfectly with it. I think it's just a super awesome material to use for those kind of summer bags. Of course, you can use Raffia also for summer hats or placemats, coasters. There are so many options, and I definitely recommend you to try it if you ever get your hand on a yarn skein of Raffia paper. Go ahead, try it. It's really a lot of fun. So this bag was completely freestyled. I just took some measurements from an existing bag that I had and then just went along, and of course I filmed the whole process for you so you can do it as well, and it shows that you only need like a little inspiration and then you can create something original and unique, just like this beautiful bag. And look, the handles even have an easy grip. So are you ready to find out how I made this beautiful Raffia bag? Let's go! So here we go, but before we start, FYI, I am completely freestyle crocheting this double crunch beach bag, market bag, tote bag, shopping bag. Call it as you want to, depending on how you would use this kind of a bag. So making something completely free from any instructions or directions is always a bit tricky, but I'm going to try my best. And in addition, this is also my very first project using Raffia or Raffia. It's basically paper. Here you can see it. It has a very pretty shine, and I mean, it's paper. I'm a bit scared, to be honest. I once tried it a little bit, and I also ordered some Raffia from Hobby, for example, but that was very stiff and my fingers were already hurting when touching it. So this one here I got in France. It's from Wool and the Gang, and the two colors are called Desert Palm and Powder Blue, and I think they look absolutely gorgeous together because I want the bag to be in two colors, so very edgy. And since I don't really know how it goes and how my hands will react to this kind of a yarn, I will just start and go on. So the hook size that I'm using here, they say it's the recommended hook size is a 4.5 millimeter. I will not use a 4.5 millimeter. By the way, here it says 100% paper. Still intimidated by that, but I will use a 5 millimeter. Probably can't see it as always, but it's a 5 millimeter, and I'm using one that is a little bit more ergonomic, because I'm pretty sure that this kind of a yarn will definitely be a bit tough on the hands. Then in the process of this tutorial, of course, some scissors and a yarn needle, but more importantly, how to start such a project. And since I haven't made like a swatch or a test piece, I will just take you through my personal process of how I would do something like this. Luckily, when it comes to things like bags or hats or shawls, you can always start with an existing piece that you have. And I remembered that I have this beautiful beach bag that I bought a while ago in the south of France. Let me see if I can show you more. It's quite big, so I'm not sure if I will make the bag this big in the end. It's really pretty, and it has like very long handles, and it has like a wider bottom. So this will serve as my inspiration for the bag itself. So first up, I will definitely have to take some measurements first. So I'm not the best drawer, but I'm trying my best. So our bag is more horizontal, like this. It's a bit less wide, something like this, like a little box. And then of course it has the handles. So first I'm going to take the measuring tape and see how long it is. It's 42, but I think I will just keep it easy and make it 40 centimeters. So I think I'm going to keep it at 40 centimeters, which is around 16 inches. And let's see how wide it is. The width is around 14, 15. Let's do 14. 14 centimeters, which is almost 6 inches. And then let's see the height of it is around 35. I think I will then keep it at 32 maybe. So 32 is around 13 inches. And let's also take the measurements of the handles, just so that in the end I don't have to think about it that much. It's around 50 centimeters. 50 centimeters, which is around 20 inches. So now that I have my rough measurements, I of course in the end want to do like the two colors, and I will make it in a way that I have like the bottom 40% of the height in the, what was it, in the desert palm color. So this part here is going to be desert palm, and also the bottom then in desert palm, and the top and the handles I will do with the powder blue. So I then have to think about, okay, when I have 32, and also depending on how the pattern will be, I can then calculate after which round to change the color. But let's just write down the individual pieces that I have to do. So we have the bottom, and the bottom is 40 in width and 14 in height. Then we have 2 times the larger side pieces, or front and back. Here again we have the width of 40 and the height of 32, and we need that 2 times. And then of course we have the sides, and here again 2 colors, and the width here is 14 and the height is then 32. So I will make the panels with the double crunch stitch, and in the end I will most probably also add a little border around each piece so that in the end it's easier to sew all the pieces together. But for now I think we are good to go. So I'm going to start with the desert palm, and I think this is supposed to be that you can cut it here or here. Let's see. Here you can lift it up. And I think that was already it. This was a piece, and here we have another piece. And why not using my yarn spinner for it? So in the end, I hope this will make my life a little bit easier. So I'm going to start, of course, with an I-cord, and I will start with my bottom, and you know it's like 3 to 4 times the length of your piece that you have to put aside for the I-cord. And then we can start with a slip knot, and we are good to go. I will just make an uneven number of stitches until I have my 40 centimeters. So, of course, I-cord as always, you take the yarn from the side and wrap it around from the front, and then you take the yarn that goes to your yarn ball, wrap it around from the back, and then pull that loop through, and here we go. It's actually not that hard, which is great. I will try to keep everything as loose as I can, and I will not squish it too much. 44. I think I will just keep it at 45. So this is then 40. Perfect. So I will just write that down. The 40 are like 45 stitches. And now I can start with the double crunch pattern. So I'm going to turn my work, and then I will go in the first stitch and make a single crochet first, then go into the front and have a fake double crochet, and then we do double crochets all along. So now I have my first round. I'm not really sure what to think about crocheting with paper. It's definitely a bit heavier on the hands, but I think once the first few rounds are done, it might get easier. So now after our full round of double crochets, I will now start with the double crunch pattern. And so I go in the first stitch and make a slip knot, then yarn over and go in the next stitch and do the double crochet, and then alternating all the way, slip stitch and double crochet. I can already say that it's easier now to go into the stitches than it was in the first round, and I'm quite happy that I started, of course, with an I-cord, because I think with a chain this would have been very fiddly. So I will do this round and then I will see you once more, because everything else then is the same. Always one round of double crochets and then slip stitch, one double crochet, slip stitch, one double crochet, and so on, to create the beautiful double crunch stitch. And this was it. I'm really curious to see how the double crunch pattern will look like. So far, I think it looks quite good. You see like those typical waves in the front. So I will just continue for this bottom piece until I have my 14 centimeters. I think this should go quite quickly, because there's like, here's 14. So until it has this kind of height. And I will meet you then to show you how it looks like, and probably also to, I don't know if I can block this or not. But I think it definitely would make sense to block it. But one thing after the other, so see you soon. So welcome back. I have a little confession to make. After I made the first 3 rows with the 5mm hook, I had the feeling that this would be like way too loose and way too meshy. And so I changed my mind and went down half a hook size, just as it was recommended on the label. Let's check that again. Here they recommend a 4.5mm hook. So I completely scrapped that and the 5mm and made the piece with the 4.5mm hook, and I personally think that this looks so much better, and you also can see the double crunch stitch texture a bit better. So I changed it, so just so you know, but that also means, because I kept the stitch count the same with our 45 stitches, but in the end this will mean that our bottom will no longer be 40 centimeters. Let's see how long it is. It is 36, 37, something like that. Let's just put down 36, 36, wherever we need it. Here it's 36, and 36 is around 14 inches. So this then has changed. I will keep everything else the same, because the height of the piece is exactly 14 centimeters, just like we wrote it down here. So our bottom part is like almost done. And quite honestly, I was surprised how easy it went. And I mean, here we have like 1 double crunch, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then another round of double crochets. So just for you as a reference. And now what I'm going to do is to make a border of single crochets all along. And for each of the corners, I will then make just 1 chain. So in the end, the stitch count on the longer sides is going to stay the same with 45 stitches, and for the smaller sides we are now defining the stitch count, which is also relevant for our smaller side pieces. But the good thing is, usually you would say that for each double crochet you make 2 stitches, and then we had this one slip stitch in between, so this is always 3 stitches, 3 3 3 3 3, and then 2 gives us an odd number of stitches, so we then can definitely use this for our sides. So let's make the sides with the single crochets, and I will try to go somewhere in here in this front bar right here, and I will just make my first single crochet in there, and I will just do the second single crochet in there as well. I think that's probably the easiest way, to just place 2 single crochets next to each other. Then we have our slip stitch. We go in there and make a single crochet. Then here again is our next. So this here was a fake double crochet. So for the fake double crochet, we do have 2 separate stitches on the sides, so we can definitely use them to make single crochets, first in the first part of the stitch and then in the second part of the stitch. And here we have the next crunch part and single crochet. So now we have 3 3 6. Then here again our next and here as well. I will just go in there and see what stitch I get. This was number 9. Here we have like a long one again. So I will just make 2 single crochets in there, and then here's our 12th stitch. Then we have 2 separates. One and 2. Where is our crunch? I just put it in here. And then take this side 1, and I will most probably put the last one down here. So let's see, we have 3 6 9 12 15 17 stitches. So here on the side, our 14 centimeters are 17 stitches. So in the end, here as well, we will have 17 stitches. Then we chain 1. Here we go, just so I know where my chain 1 spaces are. And then we can go to the bottom, and here it will get easier making those single crochets, and like that we will just go around until we're at the end. So I'm at the end. I will chain 1 And then I will cut the yarn off, and I will also pull the yarn through, because now I'm trying to make an invisible finish with raffia. Let's see how that goes. It's a first for me too. So here's our first. We are going into the second from the front. And then we go back into the stitch and align it in a way. And then I will go back to a stitch right here, and I will just pull it through. Let's see where I can put it. Maybe just, I think I will go down. Those stitches here might be easier to get. It actually works quite well, even though it's paper. Of course, it feels a lot different than regular yarn. I mean, no comparison to a soft acrylic or a cotton, of course. But I mean, why not? A little challenge. And now I cut it. And of course I have to place my last stitch marker. And like that, my very first panel, the bottom of the bag, is done. It looks quite awesome actually. It feels, of course, not very soft, but I didn't expect that. It's more like a basket, but not the worst. I mean, it gives like a very nice hand massage. So I will continue with the 4 side panels, and I will also make for each of them the same pattern like I had it here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crunch patterns or rows, and then 1 double crochet before I then switch the color to our light blue. I will show you with one of the panels, and besides that I will just create all the 4 remaining panels to then assemble the bag. So we only have to take care of the handle, but I have a super cool idea for the handle and I hope it works. But see you all later. Wish me luck. So I started with one of the smaller side panels. So basically one of those. And as you know, we have 2 of them with a width of 17 stitches. We determined the amount of stitches when we made the bottom piece. And now it has exactly the size or the height of the bottom piece. And now I'm going to add the blue. Unfortunately, that yarn skein pretty much had its own life. When getting out the yarn, it basically fell apart. So, but I can still work with it. So the way how we change the color is the same like you've seen it in my previous videos. I'm going to place the next color on my hook and then pull the other yarn tight. I will take the blue yarn with me. The desert yarn we can cut for now, because I'm going to incorporate it when we make the border around. And Let's turn, and this is a crunch round, so I will then work from now on with the blue. And the first stitch again is of course a slip stitch, and then we have the double crochet, and of course I'm always incorporating my yarn end, the blue one. And here we go, the double crunch element attached. I think those colors look absolutely pretty together, and from there I will just continue like we had it before until I have the height that I need for the bag. And after that, of course, I will create all the other side panels, and I will see you then to assemble everything and then also creating the handles. So if you're following along with me with Raffia, the paper yarn, good luck. And I will see you in a little bit. So here's where I am. I made the bottom. I made one, or basically two, of the smaller side panels, and one of them I already made the border around it. And here the border is still missing. We will do this together because I think it's something good to show you, because of course we have to change the color, and then two full side panels are done. I'm absolutely amazing. Here's how the pattern looks like, and I do love how this piece sounds. It's like very ASMR. So pretty. And as I mentioned, we will focus on this side piece now to finish it. And what I made with the other ones that were like in the two colors, I basically started right here with the blue, going all along and then switching to the sand color, going back and then connecting where we started, because I think that's easier. I could have, of course, like continued where I stopped and then go down, but then I would have a color change here and then a color change back to blue and then going up there. So I think it's much easier to start right here. Let's do it. I will take the blue yarn, and I will also make a slip knot, and then I will go right in that last stitch here. This was always our double crunch round, so here was the final slip stitch, and then I will yarn over, and I will also incorporate the yarn end. So I'm going to take this to the front, then yarn over and single crochet. And then if you watch closely for the stitches, so you always know where to go in. First, let me grab the yarn needle. First, here's like a very little V-stitch. So here's one spot, then here in this bigger spot right after that. So always two stitches for a double crochet. And then there's always the stitch where the previous slip stitch was. So those are the stitches, and you will find them on this side all along. So we can then start. So again, the first is this little V-stitch right here, which is always a bit tight. and single crochet, and then in that next space the second, and then we are already at the slip stitch space, and this we do all along. And we are at the transition, so I'm going to cut my yarn end first, and then I will go into my stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, and then I stop, and then I will cut the blue yarn and grab the sand yarn, place it over my hook, and finish the stitch with the sand color. I will leave the blue behind. I will not incorporate it because we do have different colors right here, and the rest is pretty much the same. So in the first stitch, then in that front loop, and then again in the slip stitch space, and I will meet you once we are at the end to finish this part. And here we are. I will now cut my yarn end, and I will also cut my regular yarn, and then I will just pull that through, put it on my yarn needle, and then I will go into the very first stitch, the blue one here, from the front, and then take the yarn just until those two are connected, and then I will go somewhere down here and then to the side, to pull that into my round of single crochets. Just a few of them. It's already quite tight, so this shall do, and I will also just cut it. And the same I will do with my blue. And then, as always, I will give it a good stretch. I mean, this is, you can form the paper yarn pretty well, actually. So in case it's like all wavy, here you see it. You basically don't even have to block it because you can just stretch it until it has the shape that you want. And with that, I now have all 5 panels of my bag ready to sew them together. But before sewing them together, I will definitely do some other things first, and of course the handles. So the sewing together will be like my very last step, and I'll see you for the next sequence of this double crunch raffia tote bag. So up next we are going to make the handles, and here was my idea of the handle. It's basically a strand of I-cords and similar to I-cord strands put together and then twisted around so that you get like this wavy, very beach, ocean-like strand. I think it also might work as a necklace, for example, in summer. And I think it's absolutely pretty. And in the end, we will then attach it to the bag. And the great thing is you already have like yarn overs left on both sides, so we can easily attach the pieces to the bag. But of course, I will explain everything how this is done. Both handles are made with the blue yarn. Here we go. And when I measured the length of the handles based on my example bag, as you can remember, it was 50 centimeters. So what I'm going to do, because we are going to start with an I-cord, I will just put like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and maybe a little bit more. So I have my 60 centimeters right here. It's always good to leave a bit of a longer tail. And then I will just make this 4 times, just to be sure that I do have enough of yarn left to sew everything in. And let's see here, now I have 4 yarn strands. And this is where I will start my I-cord. And the I-cord, I mean, I showed it before, I won't explain everything, but as you know, you take the yarn end and wrap it around from the front, and you take the yarn that goes to your yarn skein and wrap it around from the back, and then just pull that last loop through to have your first I-cord element. And we do this until we have 80 I-cord stitches, 80, and then we go back. And here we go, my I-cord of 80 stitches. And now we turn, we leave our yarn end behind. And then we turn our work. And first up, we are going to make 5 single crochets. So go back into the first stitch and single crochet, and then in the next single, and here we go, 5 single crochets. And now we have to create a cord without having an I-cord, where you would usually have 2 yarn strands, because we only have now 1 yarn strand to work with. And this is how it works. You go back into your last single crochet and grab this front bar, then yarn over, pull the yarn through this bar, and then yarn over and pull through the 2 loops. Again, we go in that front bar of the previous stitch, pull the yarn through, and single crochet. Again, in the front bar, yarn over, pull it through, 2 loops, and yarn over and pull it through. One more. And as you can see, it almost creates this sort of an I-cord, even though it's not an I-cord. But like this, we can go back, and we will do 70 stitches of those, because the last 5 we are going to reconnect with our I-cord. So 70 of those stitches, and I'll meet you to reconnect everything. And here we go. This is how it looks. And now we can reconnect. And I will just make sure that I don't have it twisted anywhere. Like that. And now I can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 5th one is right here. So we are just going in the top of our I-cord and just do regular single crochets to connect it back. And of course we started with 5, and then in the end we also have 5 connected single crochets. 3, 4, and the last one. And now we do have 2 strands. And you know what's coming. We turn and we make 5 single crochets first. And then again, same thing. We grab the front bar from our previous single crochet, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops, and we again do 70 of those, and then connecting with 5, and then we go back again. Let's see how many I had. I think it was 5. No, it was even 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we do until we have 6 of those strands. And the last strand, I can already tell you that don't connect it at first, because we are wrapping it around the other ones before then connecting it to our base pieces or base piece right here. So the last one, not only make it 70, make it 80, and everything else you can connect, and leave it unconnect, and I will meet you back to show you how to connect it and to twist it around to get like this super beautiful, very organic handle. And here we go. This was my last strand. Now I should have 6. Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now what I will do is to take this last strand and just wrap it around the other ones, just to like hold everything a little bit more in or together. And let's see, something like this. And if you do feel like it's a little bit too long, you can always take some stitches out, because we are now just reconnecting it as twisted as it is, and make our final 5 single crochets. Here we go. Then yarn over, pull it through, and now we can cut the yarn, pull it through. And now when we also twist it a little bit, we get like this super beautiful braided effect, even though it's mainly not braided, but I think it's quite pretty. It matches to the beachy theme, and this is exactly what I was going for. And of course you can still always, I mean, with raffia you can still stretch it and press it. And personally, I think when you do this, it also gets a little bit softer. It's not that hard anymore. So this is definitely a good way to make it a little bit more appealing when touching it. And now we can basically start connecting our strap to the piece, and I would say somewhere maybe around here. So let's see. You can also go higher. Maybe we go a little bit higher. So here we have the first crunch, the second crunch, and we will add it on top of the third crunch from the top. And then let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Somewhere around here. Let's just go for it. I'm all for just doing, not thinking too much. It will all work out. And let's see, if I put it here, then it might go up a little bit. So let's turn it, because now we are going to do this on the other side. And for that, I will just roll my handle a bit until I reach the other side. So here we are, and here we had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's count this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And here on the side of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's around here. Let's see if this is correct, but I think it should be. And we do the same thing and connect everything. Here comes the not so funny sewing together part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's see, our handles, or our handle is connected. So again, make sure to like also bring it a little bit, like stretch it and squish it a little bit. And I think this looks quite promising. And I might also add like a soft grip. So I will most probably make like a little part here where I just wrap the raffia around. But first, let's just make the other one. And I'll meet you once I have it. And then we can start assembling the rest of the bag. And now we have both handles connected. Again, I might do a little thing with the handle in general, but so far I think this should be enough as handles. And now we can actually start with assembling everything together. And I will start from the bottom, like sewing those parts together. like this on all sides. And luckily I do have my stitch markers from the beginning, and put it on my yarn needle, and then I will start by going here in the corners. And I will definitely make this very easy for me to just go along. In a super easy way, just like that. So I will just go from one stitch to the next all the way through to connect my pieces. And the beautiful bag is sewn together. It's a bit hard to see. I know, but I can't go up much more. But here you have the inside. I think it just looks absolutely beautiful. Such a cute and fun bag. It turned out a little bit smaller than I initially thought, but so what? And here's what I meant with like an easy grip for the handles, and I just tested it and thought it was super practical because you can then grab the handles a little bit better. So I will make another one for the second handle, and I won't show everything into detail. It's 15 stitches, and then it's just 4 rounds of double crochets all on top of each other, so that we can wrap it around the handle. And I also started by just making a double knot of the yarn ends so I could get rid of them already. And then I took the shorter yarn end to the inside, and then I just went up here like that, and now stitch by stitch closing it. And once you're at the end, you can even use the other yarn end again to make another double knot. It should still be adjustable, so you can move it around. And then I will just hide the yarn ends in there. And trying to get it. Here it is. And like that, no yarn ends to sew in. And like that, my second easy grip handle is done. I think it works pretty easy, and this makes it a little bit easier also to grab the bag. Now, usually the bag would be done, but I recently found this ivory white raffia yarn in France, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool to like have like a patch to put on my beautiful bag? So I remembered that I have a little granny square heart tutorial on my channel. I'm going to link it, of course, up here. And I created these two little granny square hearts with the ivory white. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to just place the hearts, one on each side, on the bag, so it gets like a little bit like the beach love shown. And I also love that in the holes of the granny square you get like the different colors shown. So I will add that to the bag because I want to embellish it. And also bags cannot be too extra, so I'm going to sew that on from both sides, both of the hearts, and then the beautiful bag is done. And here we go. My little heart patch is on. Quite honestly, sewing something on like this is pure torture for me, but I think it looks really pretty. And now the bag is done. Here you can see the inside of my beautiful amateurish sewing. But I think it's just a super cool summer bag. So, what do you think of my beautiful Raffia tote bag, market bag, beach bag, boho bag? Isn't it just absolutely gorgeous? I hope you like it, and I hope you will use this summer to make yourself a Raffia bag as well. Trust me, it's so much fun and you get such a beautiful piece. And who knows, maybe you are the lucky winner of the Battle of the Stitches poll and want to have this bag. I will send it to you, even though it would break my heart because I love it. I am absolutely in love with this, and this will most probably not be my last Raffia bag that I'm making. If only the yarn wouldn't be that expensive, but so what. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial for my beautiful Raffia bag for the Battle of the Stitches. Make sure, if you want to win this beautiful bag, to comment under the poll post posted on all 4 creators community posts, and then you're in the drawing to win whatever project you want. It can be this, it can be the project from the other creators. And I will see you next week for the live, but to be honest, I'm going to see you a little bit earlier for maybe another tutorial. Who knows? And until then, bye! Enjoy the view of the beautiful bag and the fake sea. So, happy crocheting! Bye! Look how beautiful this bag is. I'm so in love with it. Maybe that's why I put the heart. I'm really curious if the water on film will look a little bit more inviting than this. Not so pretty, but the view and the colors. Now the only thing missing is, of course, the bag. My arm is not long enough. Again, I'm all sweaty. Maybe I should really try to write a script before filming, because otherwise it gets so stressful.